Hey now, I love pizza and my family looks forward to our weekly pizza nights, which would include tonight. Now, I love any opportunity to fire up the pizza oven. I've got a Gosney Rock Box that I absolutely love, and it's completely changed my pizza game, especially since I used to use the old oven and cast iron in order to make my pizzas. So this is definitely a step up. Now, today I'm going to show you the pizza dough recipe that I have sort of been working on over the last several years, and I find works really well in this pizza oven. I find it's a really nice blend between simplicity and a relatively quick turnaround time, but it still winds up with a really, really delicious crust. It's crispy on the outside, nice chewy on the inside. It's a really, really nice blend of all the things that I want to balance out in my life here. Now, I know some people might be like, oh, you're not letting it ferment for multiple days or anything like that. I find this is a really nice balance for what is reasonable for me to achieve just with our schedule around here, but still come out with a really delicious pizza crust. So come along for the ride. So this is a really simple recipe. I'm going to put some variations of it scale-wise in the video description. Now, I'm starting off here with just some warm water. You want it kind of in that 100-degree Fahrenheit range. This is actually going to be a recipe that'll make about 5 pizza pies. So I'm going with 408 grams of that water. And yes, I'm doing everything by weight, and I'm doing it by grams. It's just super, super easy to work with math-wise. So I've got that water in my bowl here. I'm going with some instant rise yeast here, and because of the quantity that I'm making with that dough, I'm going with 4 grams of that. I'm just going to get that into the water there, give it a nice little kind of swirl. Before anything else here, I am going to add some olive oil, approximately a glunk is what I would like to refer to that as. And I've got my 00 pizza flour here. This is the blue bag of the Caputo 00 flour. Really like that for this particular recipe. And then just going into here as well, we've got some salt. I'm going with fine sea salt. Now for these 5 pies, that was 600 grams of that flour and then 12 grams of that salt. So let's get this mixing. Now this is easily made in just a stand mixer. I'm using my KitchenAid here. I think my dough hook could probably use a little replacement, so don't judge me on that. I'm going to start off here on the probably the second setting, and I'm going to give that 2 minutes. And during that 2 minutes, all I'm wanting to see here is that all of this flour and everything gets roughly incorporated, and then we're going to kick up the speed a little bit. Now, if during that initial 2 minutes you find that some of the flour is like stuck to the side and not coming down, you can just stop the machine and scrape it down with a spoon or a rubber scraper or something like that. But as you can see here, we're good to go, so I'm just going to step it up. And I'm just going up 1 step, and now I'm going to let this go for 5 minutes. And then we're going to kick it back down to that first setting here and give it another 2 minutes, so that's a total of 9. And after that, our mixing is all done. So now you want to get it out of this container and into a fermentation vessel. So I've just floured my hands here, and that's going to allow me to manipulate this dough with a little bit greater ease. I'm going to pop that mixer right out of the way. Now, a couple of things to mention here really quickly. First of all, I was going with the 68% hydration. That's how with my 600 grams of that 00 flour, I came up with that 408 grams of the water. However, depending on your climate, the humidity, all those kinds of things, you might want to adjust that either a little bit up or down. The other thing too is that if you're not a big fan of olive oil in your dough, you can make it without that. I have done that before as well, and the dough has turned out just fine. So as you can see, I'm going to let this ferment inside one of these plastic proofing bins. I'll have a link to this in the video description in case you're interested in where I got it. Now, the thing I like about this is, first of all, I can see what's happening inside the container here because it is that clear plastic. They do have a couple of handles and everything like that, so you can also transport it around and be all cute if you want. The best thing though about this plastic here is that when you're done, you get your dough out, and any that sort of gets stuck or remains on the inside here, you just let it dry, and it's going to flake off within a couple of hours. Makes for a super easy wipe up, clean out here, as opposed to using like a stainless bowl or something like that, or even glass. I find sometimes it just really sticks to it, and it's just a pain to clean, but this is a joy. So now you want to take this, you want to get it somewhere relatively warm. If your kitchen's already warm, if it's the heat of summer, fantastic. If it's a little bit cooler, you can pop it up on top of the fridge. I also have a proofing chamber. Sometimes I'll pop it into here. But you know what? The temperature, the ambient is really nice today. I'm just going to leave it on the counter. So after not quite 2 hours here, You can see that this dough has definitely risen. It's expanded. It's looking fantastic. We are a good ways in. So again, depending on your ambient temperature, it might take less time, it might take a little bit more time. I've actually rushed this dough before and had it ready at this point in as little as an hour. It really just depends what you're comfortable doing. So I'm just going to use my bench knife here and get this dough out and onto the counter so that I can divide it. Now, with the size of pizza oven that I've got, I typically like to have roughly 200 grams for my little rounds here that are going in for each pie. You can also just figure out, like, you know, roughly calculate, okay, this is how big I want my pizzas to be, and just kind of run the math on that. So my little digital scale is handy for that as well. And now that I've got this dough divided up, I'm just going to get them into these little rounds and back into this container just to continue to rise. So now that I have those rounds ready, I'm going to pop this lid back on. And we'll give these anywhere from 45 to an hour. The old rock box fired up here. Let it warm up. Here we are. After 45 minutes, you can see those are looking fantastic. We are ready to start making our pizzas. So I'm just going to get one out. So there are different ways to actually form these doughs. I like to take it and make sure I've got a decent amount of flour on the actual dough. So I like to have that flour on there, and then I like to go around and just lightly compress the perimeter here, just using my fingers and the palm of my hand. And then I kind of follow up with my left hand here and just go ahead and get that ready. Then I have the shimmy, where I'm just kind of using the tops of my tiny, delicate little hands here. I just kind of shake it out, get it a little bit wider. In preparation for tossing. Meanwhile, I have all my ingredients all prepped and ready to go, because once this gets onto that pizza peel, I find you've got kind of a limited amount of time. And as you can see on that peel down there, I've got a decent amount of semolina flour. I know some people like to go with a little bit less, but the last thing I want to have is a pizza dough that gets stuck on there and then you're panicking at the last minute trying to get it on. And then for the toss, just toss it a couple of times there, just to round it out a little bit more. Flop it on down. And now, different ways to dress these. I like to use my mother-in-law's homemade sauce here. It's delicious. Some people just like the old San Marzanos on there. Go with whatever you like. Just like to use a spoon to spread it around here, the underside of the spoon. Now this particular pizza is for the children, the littlest ones who, it's going to be half cheese and then half ham. I'll just do a little bit more cheese. Again, lots of opinions out there on how to actually dress these pies, but we're good to go. All right, out to the oven. All right, so you can see I got a nice slide on there. Got the gauzy set up here at about just over 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to let this cook for about 90 seconds total. I like to go about 45, and then we're going to start to spin it. And then after 45, just using the turning peel, give it about a quarter turn. We're going to do that every 15 seconds till we're done. And that's our 90 seconds. And here we are. Gorgeous. Let's get this inside. So then I'll let things cool down here for a little bit, and then we are ready to cut. Just like that. Couldn't even stop myself. I just started to eat this particular one here. I'm going to keep doing that. But check out that crust there. Beautiful. Biting into it, just a little bit firm and crisp on the outside, but so tender, so just nice and soft and chewy on the inside. I could eat just the crust, forget the toppings. This is delightful. So there you have it, an easy recipe with basic ingredients, a simple process, not a huge amount of wait time, and a great result, especially when cooked in that pizza oven. So please, if you have a chance, give it a whirl, and if you do, let me know how it turns out, and until next time, keep your pizza dough at 11.